Hey, everybody. Karen Anderson here for this week's Week in Review. It's Monday. Oh, it is so everything Monday. It is just like those Mondays when you're like, I think I should probably go back to bed. But actually, I've been really good today because I have a lot of things on my calendar and I've been sticking to my calendar. I found 17 minutes, 17 to actually eat something. So that fell out of nowhere. I was like, oh, I have 17 minutes. I'm going to eat something. So that was pretty good. But then you have to leave room for like that phone call from your husband that says, "Go get the trash cans right now because it's going to get very blustery, very windy, and then they're going to be all over the court." So then you have to run down the stairs and fit that in right before you're about to go live with all of you. So it's Every Bit Monday. Maybe I'm going to start a new post called Every Bit Monday. Extra Tuesdays, when Tuesdays are just extra, right? It's things like, well, it's crazy here because it's opening day in Maryland. So you got like the O's and you got friends there who are sending me pictures, been drinking since 10 a.m. They're like having a blast. That is like nightmare scenario for me. So I ran all my errands today. But enough about me. Please click like, please click that subscribe button and the bell so that you're notified every time we go live because we have so much stuff coming up for the month of April. A lot of stuff, and you want to be part of it. Really good live events coming up this month, and we have our Aortic Kitchen is back on track this month. You want to be part of that. We've got some celebrating spring cooking. I don't know what that means. I don't know, but we'll see what that's about. So lots of things. So click the bell so that you're notified when we go live. But this is when we go over the posts that we put up last week, because this is really giving everybody that actual live opportunity to like share your thoughts and your opinions on the post, questions you might have, follow up, things like that, ask questions, what have you. And so we're going to dig right into it. And then I've got a couple announcements. I'm taking a note right now of the things I want to talk about. Yeah, super excited. Let's get started because it really wasn't a super busy week last week. It was a lot of posts of events. That's what a lot of people saw. So let's start because last Monday was part of our Movement for Movement Mondays. And this was the Monday check-in that Joyce, our fearless leader for Movement Mondays, this was her post and she's doing her check-in. And basically what she's saying is, hey, breaking news, guys, your body is smarter than you think. And it really is, but it can also be kind of lazy. That's this body can be very lazy sometimes. But your body actually adapts to movements that you do daily. So anything that you do, your body starts to compensate and it adapts to it. And that means that even if you're constantly on the go, like I was today, or you're working or you're at home, your body starts to get used to this. Well, clearly mine is not used to its day to day because I am so supercharged right now because I've been going, going, going. But the result, you might feel and realize that you're not actually getting the movement that you need. Like what you're doing is not actually what your body needs to continue to give you good health. So that's why intentional movement is so incredibly important. And your body actually needs variety. Just like your mind needs to be stimulated by a variety of things, your body needs it too. It needs that something extra special outside of your regular routine. So a stretch, a walk, different way of moving that wakes up muscles. Whenever I do that, I pull something. I'm telling you though, whenever I do that, I pull something. If I want to do this extra stretch in the morning before I get out of bed, thinking it's going to loosen up things, it jacks something up. But I'm going to tell you, I think that's because I'm not moving enough. And that is on my high priority list to change because I've gotten the all clear to change it. So that's my thing is I'm really going to intentionally begin doing some more movement. So again, whether you're stretching or you're walking, whatever it is, it's kind of waking up those muscles and it's getting that circulation flowing throughout your body. And without intentional movements, your body just kind of coasts because it gets used to not doing anything, right? So it just kind of coasts along on autopilot. But here's the good news. So if you don't like to add intense workouts, if that's not something you want to do, can do, feel like doing, um, you you don't have to. You don't even have to make any of these gigantic lifestyle changes. A small adjustment, something small, minor, like we were just talking about, a small stretch when you're waking up, taking that extra lap around the office, taking the long way to get into Target or a grocery store, parking a little bit further away if you're feeling a little bit more energy. shaking off the stiffness while you're sitting, things like that, ankle pumps even while you're sitting. All of these things can really make a difference. Just that small change, okay? And do you want to see how other people are moving? Come check us out, right? On Facebook. Do you get a chance on Instagram? And kind of share what you're doing. I like this, what you do for a living. She means like how you're living your best movement life, right? Let's see, let's see how you're doing with that. Let's see what you're doing for a living as far as your career. Do it in gifts. That's what you wanted everybody to do last week. And think about one new movement you can add a day. This doesn't have to happen just every other Monday. This could be like every day of the week. These conversations should be happening in your mind every day of the week, but always listen to your body. Always consult with your doctor before you begin any kind of new exercise. You want to be sure that it's something you're allowed to do, but follow this movement. Try to use the hashtag movement for movement, or want to be creative. She's got here hashtag MVMT for MVMT. Connect with others that are making movement a priority and making that change in their lifestyle. See, small, simple things makes a big difference. It really does. It does. All right, Josh, who's with us? Who's there?
All right.
Anybody?
So far we've got Tom and Christina.
Hey, Tom and Christina.
Christina's on the treadmill in the living room.
I love that. I love
Christina, she's
that.
always finding a new way for me to go, what? Why? How?
Listen, if I had one, I probably would do the same thing. There's a lot of shows that I should be watching while moving instead of while sitting and munching some snack in my bed. It's the reality. I should be
So
doing more.
for this past Christmas holiday, I got my adopted mother, my best friend's mom.
Mm-hmm.
I got her a walking pad because
Oh yeah.
her little dog passed away before the
Mm,
winter started,
yeah.
and she would go on like nice 15-minute walks with him 2-3 times a day. And I was like, well, I don't want you
Very
to
nice.
stop that. Like
Yeah.
that's part of why you're still up and about there, lady.
Right. That's great.
So yeah, so I
I've
got
seen
her that, and
those.
she's enjoyed it. She's enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Another client of mine, Kim McNicholas.
Mm-hmm.
Again, peripheral artery disease community. Walking is essential and lead by
It
example.
is.
So now,
Yeah.
every now and then, you'll see her on her walking pad during like whatever support groups. Just like we're
Mm-hmm.
walking, and you'll see 2, 3, 4 people in those groups, just walking together, chit chatting.
Well,
Yeah.
I have a conversation coming up this coming Sunday with a community member who we're trying to put together a series that will be walk and talk with fill in the name, which I shall not name just yet till I have it confirmed. And it will be like a, just like it sounds, walk and talk. People can just hop on. This person's going to kind of start the conversations and just let people just chat, but you got to be moving. You got to be moving while you're chatting. It's not walk and sit, right? Or sit and talk. That sounds better. Walk and sit. It's
Hmm.
not sit and talk. It's walk and talk.
I like the
And
idea. Good idea.
yeah, I'm super excited about that because, what motivates you better than having people to chat with while you're doing it, right? So yeah, I'm actually think I'm getting my puppy at the end of June, so I'll be doing a lot of walking. Well, not right away because they can't walk that much when they're that young. He'll only do like a couple minutes, a couple times a day, but I will eventually be doing lots because I want to take it out everywhere, and I want it to wear a big bow, and I'm going to take it everywhere with me, everywhere I go. It's going into stores. It's going everywhere. Rosie will be joining me. That will be her name. So you'll see videos, lots of pictures of Rosie. All right, everybody, let's move on to topic Tuesday. I'm sure it's going to be a doozy. All right, so this is from Alvaro, another one of our med students. And last week, he decided to delve into this new technology for treating aortic disease. This is because I found this on, what is it, Cardiovascular Today. I get it, I subscribe to it. I also subscribe to Endovascular, where there was a big article that Aortic Hope and Think Aorta we were a part of. But in Cardiovascular Business, maybe, or Today, they had this article called the AMDS, Hybrid Prosthesis. See, I can barely say that word. And this prosthesis is designed by Artivion. And it is an ascending replacement or hemi-arch repair. So this actually helps to treat your type 1, your DeBakey type 1, or type A aortic dissection. And so the standard of care uh, for an ascending replacement or hemi-arch repair, um, that happens with DeBakey has always been like it's been a graft. But while the procedure can be successful in removing the entry tear, it fails to adequately address the remainder of the diseased aorta. So, and that's why people tend in the past to just leave the rest of it dissected, right? We would just address just the ascending. So this is where this new technology really enters the game. And I'm so glad they wrote about this because when I was reading it, my brain was exploding. And I'm like, you need to write this in somewhat easy form that everybody can get. And this is like cutting edge stuff, cutting edge stuff. So what is the AMDS hybrid prosthesis and how does it work? So imagine your aorta is a large water pipe, right, that suddenly develops this major crack, a scenario that in the human body would be known as an aortic dissection. So for now, let's just focus on the DeBakey type 1, which is your ascending, okay? That's similar basically to type A. So this type of dissection is particularly dangerous. Why? We know the answer to this because it involves a tear that splits the aorta into two channels. You have your true lumen, which is the main passageway that allows that oxygenated blood to flow to all of your organs, and then the false lumen, which is this unintended problematic channel that leads to nowhere. And if it's left untreated, the cracked pipe that we're talking about here can lead to rapid and catastrophic failure, much like a leaking water pipe that could burst in your house, right, if it's not repaired properly. So let's consider the typical standard surgical repair, which is known as your hemi-arch repair. So in this analogy, this is like patching only part of the cracked pipe. And what we forget is that pipe is now forever not the same. It's been breached in a sense. So the damaged section closest to the visible break is what is fixed, much like applying an external patch to stop that immediate leak. However, while the patch might stop that obvious leak, it's often leaves the remainder of that pipe very vulnerable because it is kind of sort of in this weakened state. So in medical terms, the standard repair can inadvertently create a weak vessel or a weak spot rather in the vessel at the site where the patch ends. And that phenomenon is known as a distal anastomic, no, anastomotic, anastomotic. It is anastomotic. I'm correct in that. Known as a distal anastomotic. I'm so proud of myself right now. New entry tear, or DANE, distal anastomotic new entry tear. So this new tear can actually allow water, or we're talking about blood, but we're using our scenario, to continue to leak into that false channel. And that is much like this poorly sealed patch that might eventually allow leaks to occur. So that AMDS hybrid prosthesis is a specialized device from Artivion that's been designed to treat this DeBakey type 1 dissection by reinforcing the entire affected aortic segment from the inside, much like an internal liner for a cracked pipe. So it not only repairs the initial tear, but actually prevents the formation of new leaks by expanding the true lumen. So you have to think about that pipe, right? So it's going on the inside. And okay, so your pipe really kind of looks like this, right? Can you see that? So it's got like your true, your false lumen. So they're putting something on the inside that's going to expand the true lumen, allowing that blood flow to allowing more blood flow basically to get to all your organs. So it reduces the false lumen and then stabilizes the overall aortic diameter. So this comprehensive support restores proper blood flow and minimizes the risk of future complications, offering a more durable solution compared to the traditional hemi-arch repairs. So here's an example. So, typically, this is what all of us were receiving that had a type 1 or type A dissection. Ascending, we dissected here, they attach this graft. They take out that portion that tore, and they put in this graft, and you attach it to the aorta here, and you attach it to the aorta here. Those are called anastomosis, the sites where they attach. But this takes it a step further and puts this piece of material, this patch on the inside, and this is the true lumen, that is the false channel, right, that can thrombose or clot. It puts it in here and expands that true lumen and makes it wider and reinforces it from the inside. So cool to me. So what does it treat? It treats and improves outcomes in patients with that type 1 dissection. Is this in all hospitals? That's a really good question. The innovation emerged following the Persevere trial, which evaluated whether the AMDS hybrid model could safely and effectively treat patients with the type 1 dissection. The FDA granted pre market approval at select centers and some hospitals, including University of Florida Health Jacksonville. They received humanitarian device exemptions. Now, what happens when you have this? Well, to us, we don't know anything because we're sleeping. But if you're going to have this prosthetic, you're going to have your typical traditional preoperative CT scan. That's going to be done. And the cut happens through the chest to expose the aorta. The tube is inserted in the aorta and it's gilded until the part of the cuff is until part of the cuff is on place. I'm not sure exactly what they meant by that, but we're going to read on. A conventional surgical repair is made to the cuff and then the chest is closed. All right, so let's see here. What do we got? We got step 1, and you've got your cut right here, which is this is taking out, I guess, what was the dissected area. 2, they're putting something into the aorta. 3, it looks like there's some reattachments going on. You can see all the ways that they're reattaching things. This is too technical for me because I'm not a doctor. 5, all of this stuff happens until it's done. There's all your steps right there. But you can click on this link to see it in animation. Okay. Why is this important for people in this community for the future? But it's important because clinical results from studies such as the DART study and the Persevere trial showed that this AMDS hybrid prosthetic works very well in patients with acute aortic dissection. So it helps stop new tears. That's pretty important. It helps stop them from forming and improves blood flow by quickly expanding the true channel inside the aorta, the true lumen. This takes only about 3 minutes. So it's a 3-minute extra step in the middle of this surgery. And as a result, patients end up experiencing fewer complications, check mark, no new leaks seen in studies, and most issues like poor blood flow is resolved, making it a safer and more reliable option compared to traditional repairs. I just sit here amazed. This was not obviously around 10 years ago. I mean, they may have been working on it and it was hush hush, but this is pretty incredible stuff. This is just, it's like an insurance policy on having that graft put in. You're now reinforcing a very critical area, which is the arch and a little past the arch. And that's important because if you're going to have issues, they tend to happen right in those areas immediately following or immediately preceding where the ascending starts. So I think this is amazing. And as we hear more information about this, we'll definitely bring it back to you. Again, we do not know where this is at what hospitals, but if it's something that you're interested in looking into, you can bring up the AMDS hybrid prosthetic. And they're going to think that you're really smart, that you know something that not a lot of people know about. And that's your Topic Tuesday. Super cool stuff, right? So
Right on. Molly
yeah.
joined the chat.
Hey, Molly.
I like that imagery that they had for the thing. That was
Yeah,
one of our best images so far. That looks really
I
good.
love that. Like
Yeah.
that's yeah, it's pretty awesome. Pretty funky organ thing, isn't it? Wild.
Molly says
And it's just how big they are.
Molly says, loving this analogy. It helps to explain the others. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks to Alvaro. He's on it. He is on it. All right. So this is something we're going to talk about that happened in the past that I still have not downloaded all 110 photos yet to share. I just got my message this morning, but we had mentioned this. Michael Pace is a community member who participated in a Spartan race and raised money for Aortic Hope. So we're so thankful to him for doing that. That happened on Saturday. He chose Aortic Hope to be the recipient of funds that he raised in an effort to create awareness about aortic disease. On November 29th, 2021, and just so you know, we're hoping that Michael will share his story and record. He's been little busy preparing for this race. He was doing a family walk on what he would describe as a rare, chilly night in Florida, which is where he is. He began to feel extremely anxious, aggravated, and clammy. And when he got home, he felt immense pain in his chest and decided it was time to go to the emergency room. So after a long wait and intense pain, he was finally taken for his CT scan and revealed that he had this life-threatening aortic dissection, which was caused by an aneurysm because of his aortic valve. So this condition, which I'm thinking he's saying was bicuspid valve, really only occurs in like, what is that? What's 0.01? What is that? 1/10? Is that what that is? Percent, not even of people. I don't do good with math, you guys. Sorry, I get confused when you throw decimals in there. Unless there's a dollar sign, I know those really well. This screws me up. But it's really small amount of people in his age group usually require emergency open heart surgery, and he's one of them. But thanks to the incredible care he received, he now can consider himself a survivor. However, we know not many people, can be as fortunate, right? This is one of the facts. So he knows and recognizes that awareness and early detection is crucial when it comes to saving lives. And that's why he partnered with us, with Aortic Hope, as he describes, a very dedicated organization that provides support, education, and hope to those affected by aortic disease. Our mission is to improve the quality of life for parents, for patients and their families through awareness, support, and research. The fundraiser. His fundraiser was to raise awareness and funds with a group of 20 other passionate individuals, including himself. They ran this Spartan race this past Saturday, and they're running to support Aortic Hope, and they ran to spread the word about the importance of aortic health. Their goal was not only to complete the challenge, and if you don't know what a Spartan race is, you should look it up because it's pretty intense, but to kind of also inspire others who are able to join the cause and consider doing it themselves. And this is something that definitely you need to prepare for and train for, and talk to your physicians about, if they're on board, how to make sure that your aorta is healthy and that they can actually get you to a place where you'll be successful in this race. So they were looking for donations. They explained the what the donations go to. And as we tell you all the time, 100% of all monies that we raise are used towards our initiatives within the community. And that's educational programs to raise awareness about the signs and symptoms of aortic disease, and the resources that we provide, whether it's online here or physical resources like our patient guides. So he talks a lot about the donation. You can still make donation by clicking the link here, but he did it, success. And we'll have another post about that, posting some pictures, because I just got it this morning. So we're kind of in the past, but we're kind of in the present. But soon we'll be in the future, and I'll tell you how it turned out. So that's what happened.
Yeah.
That was one exciting thing.
And
Yeah.
we're hoping to hear from Michael Pace so that we can schedule his live Survivor Series
Yes.
this weekend. We're hoping.
Oh, you're doing it this weekend?
We're hoping to.
Oh.
We wanted to get his promo material last week, but we just kept crossing in the dark there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Molly
Busy
says,
guy.
yeah, both of us. Molly says, question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get this hybrid prosthetic years after the initial emergency surgery? So here's the thing. Who did we have? I'm a huge fan, and I'm drawing a blank, from Rock from the Heart.
Tyler?
No.
No, who?
No. The Survivor. And he had a mechanical valve, and that mechanical valve got infected, and so they had to go in and they gave him a prosthetic.
Mike Sylvester?
Nope.
I don't know then.
John Toivonen.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, John Toivonen. And so it's not that they can't, it's that they usually don't unless something comes up.
Yeah, I wouldn't think anybody would elect to have somebody cut into where your graft is just to put this reinforced, because you have to realize the false lumen's probably already got a nice plot in there. Mm-hmm. So to expand against that,
it's just risk, right? So obviously for John, this was also the third open heart surgery.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're going in, sure. But
yeah,
you're not going in.
And they had to address the infection.
Right.
So, and again, this just goes to show you, like, there is no 100% procedure. There is none. Not many people get an infection on that thing at all.
Right.
And he was diligent about his medications and recovery.
And you know what? And it's usually not meds. They say that so many times getting an infection on a valve or something like that is because of going to the dentist. And I'm not talking about root canal and some major dental surgery. It's just going to get your teeth cleaned. That's insane. And people who have had their valves operated on should know that they're taking antibiotic. But these, at certain ages, you've been taking antibiotics on and off your whole life. So who knows how effective they are. but that's the fastest way to cause a problem with your heart is to neglect your teeth. That goes for every person.
Mm-hmm.
Fastest way. It's crazy.
Write that down.
Crazy. Well, yeah, I know. I take very good care of my teeth. I just do. All right. We're moving into Feel Good Friday. So, this is our reading resources. There's a lot of people that love reading. I am not one of them. I will do it, but I don't love it. It's got to be like a certain really like captivating book, like this book by Colleen Hoover, Verity, and they're making it into a movie right now. And my sister kept telling me, I'm telling you, I know you hate to read. It's a quick read, but you've got to read it. And my mother said so, Colleen Hoover, Verity. And I read it and I was like, could not put it down. That's never happened to me. Oh, other than 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. I did read that whole thing really fast. I skipped around a little bit. But no, but this book is so good. It's such a suspenseful, great book. Like things you just don't expect. And I cannot wait to see the movie. But if you like to read books, I digress, and you want something that's really great and new and written by a community member, you need to check out our reading list because I don't know, it's just pretty. It's this is the wrong link. I have to change that. It's pretty awesome. It's up here on resources. We'll check it out. But if you're somebody who's written a book or poetry, it doesn't matter. If you've written something, you're a community member, and it would be beneficial to the community to read it. You got to get the information to us because we would love to share it. We'd love to share what you're doing. So let's go find this and check it out because I don't know why the wrong link ended up there. But here it is, and I'm going to tell you some of the books that are on here. So obviously, first and foremost, our first patient guide that we created, right? And that is the Aortic Dissection, the patient guide, which is also in Spanish. And our second guide is about to come out, and that's titled Aortic Disease, the patient guide. And that's really about anything from valve to your abdominal aorta. It's going to cover aortic valve disease, whether it's regurgitation, stenosis, congenital, like bicuspid valve, aneurysms, what kind of aneurysms, where they can form, how they're diagnosed, how they're treated, how they're monitored. We do talk a little bit about dissection because that would be a complication, and genetics and exercise and diet and medications and support, everything A to Z in this book. So the next one would be Dissected. Healing with Poetry, My Journey of Two Aortic Dissections. This is written by Maria Herrera. She actually is our moderator of our Spanish speaking support group meetings, which will be taking off in the future as we just ordered a ton of the Spanish patient guides because we ran out of them so fast. And we've got a ton of orders right now. So everything's back ordered. And we know that once these start getting out, we'll start having larger contingency of people that are community members that are joining. But this really talks a lot about, she had her first surgery in 2009, and the fears and questions just became like so super overwhelming for her. The difficulty with the diagnosis, the lack of knowledge back then in 2009. Some of the medical professionals were actually working against her, a nightmare. So what could have been addressed with her with a simple stent or observation, if found in time, actually led to quite a complicated and dangerous emergency open heart surgery that really kind of just changed her life forever. The psychological traumas after the surgery became a daunting chore and led her to find a healing path. Poetry really became her path. It kind of fortified her spirit in her most vulnerable moments, and she just wants everybody to know that you're not alone. She just click on this link, it'll take you right to a book so you can order that. Okay, Andrea Garrett Helms, A.G. Helms, wrote a book called Everyday Sinner, Undeserved Miracles from an Unconditional God. So if you're a little bit more spiritual, this might be a really good book for you. I'm going to quote, she says, I laid there helplessly looking at my beautiful husband's sobbing face as the surgeon said, you need to decide who is priority, your wife or your child. Life is such an amazing, wonderful journey, but at times it's like a badly paved road. You're traveling along and bam, hello, whiplash, hello, insurance claim, hello, Route 44, half and half tea and lemon, with lemon and the good ice you've waited for that's dumped all over the floor. I know exactly what good ice she's talking about too. The really small ones that are really crunchy. Our lives over the past 2 years have been more like a bumpy jungle safari trail in an old Jeep with 3 partially deflated tires. God and we beat infertility. God saved our baby, and God saved me, a walking, talking, breathing hot mess. He had mercy on an everyday sinner like me. There are 4 cases in the world of pregnant women with type A and type B aortic dissections with an aortic aneurysm. 2 of the 4 resulted in both the mother and the child perishing. People say we are walking miracles, but what we say is God, our God is a God of miracles. It took me 2 years to write this book emotionally and physically. It holds the most personal details of our journey. I pray that it gives you hope. I pray that it encourages you to speak to your mountain, whatever it may be, with boldness and confidence. I pray that it brings you closer to Jesus Christ. And I pray that you turn the last page feeling loved because you are so very, very loved. Help you more spiritual, religious. That's going to be a great book for you. That brings us to How My Ordinary Became Extraordinary. This is a pretty well known book. I think this has been around for a while by Terry Benson. It invites you inside her harrowing journey through one of her worst heart conditions possible. And after waking up to find her life fractured by her condition, she fought to reassemble the pieces into a normal life. But when climbing the stairs, it felt like hiking Everest, and brushing her teeth became an actual accomplishment. It didn't take long to feel discouraged. I think we can all relate to that feeling. This is the true story of Terry's recovery from an aortic dissection and the people and mindsets that pulled her through it. Whether you're standing atop your personal mountain or still scaling the cliffs, this book is going to be for you. Next comes Life After Death, a true story of surviving an aortic aneurysm and dissection, written by Robert C. Fisher. And he says, imagine rising on a normal day, unaware that you have a rare, deadly underlying medical condition. Without warning, an excruciating pain crosses your chest, and you barely make it from your living room to the operating room, but your body somehow manages to hang on narrowly surviving what most do not. But surviving the initial incident is only the beginning as complications arise. And I think we all can relate to that as well. This is a true story of Robert, who at age 55 experienced one of the most traumatic events in his life, an aortic aneurysm and dissection. With less than a 5% chance of survival, Robert was one of the lucky ones. You may remember hearing about aortic dissections. It was what killed TV sitcom actor John Ritter in 2003 at the age of 54. There's a lot of people: Lucille Ball, Albert Einstein, Alan Thicke. So the list unfortunately kind of goes on. But trying to make sense of his near-death incident, Robert spent many hours talking through what had happened to him with his wife, Carol. Those talks soon turned into journaling, all about what he had to cope with. And that journaling involved into writing this book, as Robert wishes to bring awareness about the deadly condition. So for those of you that are dealing with an aortic dissection, or for those that are interested in what life is like after such a terrifying ordeal, this book may offer you some insight. Then we have The Miracle Man Beating the Odds, Cheating Death. So if you're an athletically inclined person, you may want to check out this book. There's many different books, many different lids from many different pots, right? Do you know anyone facing or has faced major surgery, illness, disease, or other life-changing personal financial situation? Does that person need hope, inspiration, spiritual grace, and the sheer will to keep going? Do you know people who want to lose weight quickly yet permanently with minimal exercise? The author, Scott Pribble, survived an internal injury that is 90 to 95% fatal. In this book, he describes his 7-year rehabilitation comeback. Pribble also describes how he lost 50 pounds in 2 months. Next up is The Last Breath and the First Beat by Danielle Rambelli. Hello, fellow warriors of the aortic dissection community. My name is, I think I'm pronouncing it right by saying Danielle. Like many of you, I survived a life-changing aortic dissection. It was an experience that shook me to the core, not only physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. He says, I'm an operations manager and engineer, a proud father of 3, and my life took a sharp turn when I faced the terrifying reality of an aortic dissection. Through a long and difficult recovery process, I found strength, resilience, and an entirely new perspective on life. I realized that this journey wasn't just about surviving, it was about transforming. I like that. I've turned my experience into a message of hope and healing, and I've written a book to share what I've learned with others who are facing or have faced this battle. My book, The Last Breath and the First Beat, is more than just my story. It's a resource for anyone who has gone through the life-altering experience of an aortic dissection. In the book, I open about the challenges I faced from the initial shock of diagnosis and the long road of recovery, including how I learned to manage PTSD and the emotional scars that followed. My goal in writing this was simple. It was to help others like you and find light in the darkest of times and discover a new path forward. If you're looking for a companion in this journey or just need a reminder that you're not alone, I encourage you to check out my book. We are all survivors, and together we can support one another through the highs and lows of recovery. I'm pretty sure that this is a community member from Italy. I'm going to feel confident in that guess. I think I thought that was really interesting that he checked us out and wanted to share his information with us. So you should go check that out. And our last book, so we've added like two or three since we've started this book collection over the years, is called My Heart, My Life, My Story of Surviving Aortic Dissection, Open Heart Surgeries, and Aneurysms. And this is by Michelle Wegman. And I'm going to quote her. This is my story of survival and beating the odds after suffering a massive aortic dissection that required an emergency open heart surgery to save my life and all the complications and other surgeries that ensued. The book is meant to be inspirational while learning to navigate life in the aftermath of aortic disease and aneurysms. Furthermore, this book is written for the love of golf and more specifically to demonstrate how golf mimics our daily life. It is also the best way I know to pay homage and express my gratitude to my incredible medical team for keeping me alive today. See, so there's so many different twists and takes with these guides. This is what I love about this. I do have a hard copy of a couple of books that are written by the community members, and I just love that they're just so different. And I don't like reading, but I'm captivated. And it could be because we all have something in common, but I love the different voices, tones, and takes. So if you are someone that loves reading or you'd like to challenge yourself to like it a little bit more, check out these resources. It's right under the resources page. And it's like the first thing that pops up, our reading resources. Pretty cool stuff. What we got? Anything
Right
before I go
on.
on? Okay.
Velda has joined the chat and she
Hey, Zelda.
says, I loved Terry's book.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, she's a really good writer. Also, from an interesting perspective. They've all been a little bit different. So, all right, that's bringing us to Survivor Series Saturday. Hey, you guys hear us talk all the time about this Survivor Series, which is meant for patients for patients to talk about their story, caregivers to share from their perspective, those that lost loved ones. Everybody gets a chance to share, right? Well, we also have this campaign called Where Are They Now? Because as mentioned in one of the prior authors, life just doesn't stop once you survive, right? It goes on. And that's a very interesting part. We're all part of this together and we're all gossipy goo-goos. So we all want to know what you're doing afterwards, right? So we appreciate hearing the survivor story. But if you've done that, I want to know what's going on in your life now. And that's how Where They Now came to be. So we're asking for all prior survivor storytellers. We want to know, we want an update. Come on, give us the tea, right? Your story already inspired so many people. So now let's show the world how far you've actually come. And if you're interested in being part of this campaign, there is a link. You can do that. You can sign up for a recorded live event, or not a live event or pre-recorded. You can also write down where you are today. But you know, we're open to doing it, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But I know people want to know. Talk about the fact that you got to see a grandbaby be born, or your child graduate, or you took a new job, or you completed a marathon. And we're not done. Look at all that. I had a lot of stuff on here. I have one left to confirm, and then April's done. But I will tell you that tonight we have our WISE meeting. That is Women Inspiring Support and Empowerment with Aortic Disease. We had such a great meeting last month. It was wonderful. And I'm already been in contact with female OBGYNs to talk to the group, cardio geneticists, women, all women speakers. That's who's coming to talk in this group. This is really a group that's meant for our female population so we can share our perspective, which is different. You know, it's true. Women, we present differently in our aches and pains than men. We have just a whole other mindset about things and living life with or having being a caregiver of someone who has aortic disease, and just very different perspectives. So I encourage you, if you'd like to share in that women's only environment, you can sign up once and you'll be notified about 15 minutes beforehand that that meeting will be starting. And that is the last Monday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then you see all the great stuff we've got, our typical 3 open to anybody support group meetings. We've got 3 caregiver meetings a month. There's just a lot. We've got our aorta kitchen happening with spring, and then 2 weeks later, it's garlic month. Oh, I so won't be watching that because I can't eat garlic, but it is National Garlic Month in April. So Chef Rob and Mindy will be doing a lot with quite a lot of garlic. Guest speakers, we have got, we hope to have Dr. Kyle Udaly from University of Alabama. Just waiting for that confirmation, but I do have a live Q&A scheduled with Dr. Pedro Catarino, 100% valves, but of course you can ask any question you want. That's happening on the 15th at 7 p.m. Aortic Artist is happening on the 16th. We've got to do Aorticope Aortic Athletes will be presenting community member Amber Williams. She's young, and has already had more than one surgery, and she's going to be talking about her athletic journey regarding aortic disease. I have the final live event is with a doctor of physical therapy, Amy Klump. We've had her on one time before. This is an important meeting because I feel like we need to talk about, if you're not approved for cardiac rehab, well, what does that look like for you, right? And PT is a very formidable option. It really is. It really, really, truly is. I did both. And I think that it'll be really good for her to explain to you what goes on in these PT visits after any type of open heart surgery, what they do, what they report back to your doctors that might make you feel a little bit more comfortable in going, the degree of privacy that you can request, et cetera. And I can't wait. I can't wait. That's going to be great. So there's a lot that's going on in the month of April. And there's also stuff coming up in the month of May. And that's where I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor of this week in review. And that's Rock from the Heart. We are gearing up 6 weeks away, you guys. We've got her second and final event of this year, and that is happening May 2nd. She has her aortic education sessions, and that happens on a Friday afternoon. It's from 1 to 6. Immediately afterwards is a dinner, and they are lovely, and it's wonderful. You have a chance to really mingle with the physicians, the guest speakers, the survivors. And then on I think that they're going to do another community screening, but there's more details to still come. I'm really in their page that says event details. And then that Saturday on the 3rd, that evening, Sebastian Bach is headlining this concert. This is not his first time, and I have a feeling it will not be his last time. From what I hear, he is awesome. He's involved. He's interested, and it's a good time to be had by all. So there are still tickets available, lodging until April 2nd. You guys, you got 2 days before this block expires. Extra special rate of $150 a night if you want to stay at Moorhead, Minnesota Lodging, Courtyard by Marriott. It's only $150 a night. That's a pretty great rate. So you need to make a reservation there. And then you've got all the information on how to get tickets to the concert and the VIP links and attending the sessions. So we're excited to get more information about it. I hope to have Amy join us in the next couple Mondays to tell it to you from her, right? Let her share all this information. So thanks again, Rock from the Heart, for sponsoring today. And yeah, I think if I look at my notes, I think that's all I have. I do want to remind everybody, though, that we have Therapeutic Thursdays with John Quick. And we've kind of changed that format a little bit. So on the link in the events page, which we're going to pull up again real quick here, if you go under Therapeutic Thursday right here, you will see that there is a link that if you would like to be a guest on this show, you can click this form here. And what does a guest mean? It means that you're going to be sharing your mental or emotional health experiences surrounding aortic disease only. This is not a therapy session. John will not be giving therapy to you because you're not his patient. This is more for him to guide and direct the conversation a little bit and allow others to feel validated by your experience. And maybe your experience is you don't remember a thing. That has a lot of merit because you are far from the only one who does not remember anything. What is that like for you? Like, how frustrating is that? Or is it not? I don't know. I'd like to know. If you're one of those people, please come on and tell us about it, right? If you were nervous to talk about it, how about if you talk about that too? I'd like to know why you were nervous. We're all friends here. I want to know what you went through. I want to know if what I felt is remotely normal. I mean, I already know, but I know other people are thinking like me. We want to know, did other people feel the same way? Are they still feeling the same way today? What tools did you use? What were some of your best practices? Everybody talks about journaling, but what if you're not a journaler? Like, what did you do to get yourself back to feeling a degree of normalcy for you? What did that look like? That's all. That's what you guys are talking about, right? And did it stir up emotions? Did it stir up things? We're not here to fix those things, but did it? Is crying all the time normal? Is crying at kitten commercials, is that normal? I mean, we know the answer. Textbook says yes, but hearing it from somebody else who's been there, done that, it just makes that yes, it makes us believe it more. It does. You know I'm right. I'm telling the truth. So if you're interested, please sign the form, that Access Your Media Release form. You'll know that whatever is on here stays in YouTube. It's not coming down. So, you get to decide what you want to talk about, right? You'll discuss that in a meeting ahead of time with John before you go live. You'll talk about expectations and if there's things he shouldn't talk about, right? So this is a safe place for you to talk and other people to listen and maybe ask you some questions. So please consider doing that. Um, yeah, consider doing that because I think it would be very beneficial to you and to others. And before I go, I want to remind everyone to please click like, please click subscribe, click the bell again so you're not missing things that are happening in the month of April, and share it because there's information in there that other people are going to really appreciate. Appreciate, if nothing else, they're going to appreciate that motivation to move their body, right? So share it and help others find aortic hope today. And thank you to everyone who joined. I do appreciate that. Coming up in the month of April, do you know that it is National Volunteer Month? Yep. Look, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, if it wasn't for all of you, because anytime any of you like our posts, you're basically volunteering to help others find out about us. You don't even realize it, but that's a huge move. It's a huge move. Takes no effort. Like, boom. Want to really get brownie points? Like and share. Wow. Like, share, and comment, and you have done the trifecta as far as I'm concerned. That's volunteering. It really looks that simple. You are doing something, an act that is going to help others feel supported and feel understood. And then there's all the people that volunteer their time with this organization, countless people, so much going on behind the scenes. I can't believe that this started off with 3 and now it's close to 40. It's amazing. And again, we do it all without being compensated, which is another amazing thing that you don't ever hear about. Not dissing anybody who does compensate themselves, but we're able to do this because people love this so much. They love knowing that if we just help one, the spider web effect of helping others it's invaluable, right? It's huge, if that was the right word. All right, so that's all coming up in the month of April. So I'm excited to see more posts about that and give a lot of shout outs to a lot of very important people with the organization. So, Josh, is there anything else I need to say? Anything else? Anybody else said?
Nope.
All right, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I'll see you guys next Monday, 3 o'clock. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.